Okay, all right, guys. So we're back in it today. We're in the shop. It's Sunday. As you guys know, we like it on Sundays because it's normally quiet unless we're making noise, working on projects. So today, what we're going to do is kind of go over some of the, I don't know, the humble beginnings, if you will, of starting this whole journey, as we like to call it, and then also going over some parts and some of the reasons why we did what we're doing on Ryan's and then what I've done on mine, past experiences, things we figured out along the way, trying to get where we are efficient at what we're doing and not screwing up, which we're really good at that. Me more, but Ryan, he's been in it a few more days than me. So kind of need to go back to square one. So this is going to be kind of walk down memory lane, but I met Ryan, shoot, the first time we were young, probably maybe the early 90s, 95, 94, somewhere in there. We were pretty young. We went to church together for years and years. We knew each other, the whole time. Had no idea that our wives are ended up going to be sisters, So that was kind of one of those, who would have thought it? But it's just one of those things that happened. So fast forward to about 2011, 12, right in there. I was freshly married at the time to my wife, which we've been married now for 12 years. But Ryan, he was going through the same youth group setup and college group setup that I was. We kind of got reunited again. Ryan had moved back from Florida. You were living there at the time, and you can tell kind of what you were doing there. You have a lot of history.
Well, it's the same kind of deal. I moved there to help a church get progress started on building. They bought a movie theater, and we transformed that into a sanctuary. And long story short, I ended up moving home after all that was done, and stepping back into the church that we went to, and that's where we hooked back up at a little gathering that we had one night. It's kind of funny, we caught back up after a while, and Caleb was talking about getting a truck and had found one on an old military truck that was down in Mississippi, and that was kind of his first hurrah. And he looked at me and he said, think about going to get this truck. And I said, well, let's do it. He said, really?
I said, I didn't think you would take me up on it.
I said, let's do it. When are we leaving? And so
so that was the first time. I say it's not my first square body because it wasn't. When I was in high school, I had a black two-wheel drive square body. So that was my first square body.
Truck in town.
It was the truck with cherry bomb exhaust, straight piped. You could hear me going from a mile and a half away. But anyway, so back to the beginning here. This was a military Cuck-V. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with those. They were started in like 84, 83 in the military and went through all the way through 88, 87. And they actually have newer style of Cuck-Vs, but a Cuck-V basically is a square body pickup. For those who don't know, it's got a 14-bolt rear, it's got a Dana 60 front. They have, most of the time, a 6.2 diesel with a TH400 transmission, MP208 transfer case, or 205 if it was a 1031 variant. If you're a Cuck-V nerd like me, you know all this stuff. But they're square bodies essentially, and a really good square body. So fast forward, I was into buying military surplus at the time, using it to resell and make some money. So I'd found this truck in Hattiesburg, Mississippi at Camp Shelby. Never forget that trip. It was one I will literally never forget. And so Ryan, like he said, he was like, hell yeah, I'll go. So we loaded up. I didn't even have a 3/4 ton diesel truck at all at this point. I had a 1/2 ton Chevy pickup that was not going to make the trip. We borrowed a trailer from a friend of ours, which is a whole nother thing. And a buddy of mine he's passed away since this story and all that's happened, and really miss him. His name's Keith Wilson. He had a 3/4 ton diesel pickup, a 6.0 power stroke of all the trucks out there. I know you guys find that hard to believe. We went down to Hattiesburg, and we all three. Keith didn't know Ryan. Ryan didn't know Keith. I knew both, Ryan and Keith pretty well. But this was kind of one of those beginning trips. So, long story short, we get the Cuck V picked up at Hattiesburg. We're coming back, and we made it to the Texas-Oklahoma border, and Keith was like, man, I gotta stop in here. And this makes me feel dated, but this is before Oklahoma had High Point beer, and so we only had 3.2 at the time. So he's like, I gotta whip in there. I gotta get this beer. I'm gonna give me a couple of cases. It's dark. It's late out at night. I bet it was midnight, maybe 11.
But it was late. Yeah.
So we pull into this gas
Everything
station.
was closed.
Yeah, there was nothing open except the gas station. So
Yeah.
he whips it in there. He's driving the truck, Keith, and the gas station has little humps where they fill up the huge gas cells underneath the concrete. And this is granted a 6,800, 7,000 pound pickup that was on a 3,500 pound axle trailer.
It's maxed out.
So it was at its full capacity, for sure.
Was not made to be going fast.
Yeah, so he whips it in there, turns that truck on a dime, and I remember looking up, I'll never forget it, and seeing the trailer wheel passing us, and I'm like, what the hell was that?
I said, you ripped the wheel off.
Yeah.
Caleb thought it was the tire at first until it passed us.
It was the whole wheel and all. It had ripped
The hub.
off of the tube.
Yeah, it was great.
So, another backstory, this Cuck V hasn't been started for 7 to 9 years, possibly. Yeah, it was in storage. Didn't know anything about it. Knew it had good parts on it, but we were just hoping it would run. So, long story short, we're sitting in the parking lot figuring out what we're doing after Keith got his beer. And,
Caleb said, what do you think we ought to do?
yeah, I asked Ryan, I'm like, I don't
Sounds
know
like
what
we need to drive this sucker home.
So I got the old American Express out, and we headed to Walmart. And
Thank God it was open.
yeah, Walmart was still open 24 hours a day. This is obviously pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And we bought batteries, and every fluid that sucker took, brought it back. Ryan helped me. We threw the batteries in it. Didn't have a drop of fuel in it.
Gear oil, no transmission oil, no nothing.
Yeah,
It was dry.
fired her up. It ran like a champ. Filled it up full of diesel, and I drove that
We
thing.
drove it around the block first and we're like, yep, she's good.
Yeah, we gave it the old half-mile test drive and had another 210 miles to go. And so I was like, I don't know if it's gonna make it. And Ryan's like, well, only one way to find out.
Caleb got him a drink and some chips and
Yeah,
we hit the road.
we hit the road, and that was like the first square-body four-wheel drive vehicle I'd ever had. So it was new. I'd never had a military Cuck V
It was cool.
pickup. It was one of the first things. So that was where I was dipping my toe into it. Fast forward a little bit, past that, Ryan ended up getting he's been a Ford guy his whole life. Just like I've been a Chevy guy my whole life. I know we're still friends, it still works. Ryan now has a Chevy, it's kind of a weird deal. Today I'm wearing a Ford t-shirt. It's on the Snap-on set, I don't know, it is what it is. So
Ripping off on
Ryan had a badass Ford. It was
75
Yep.
F100. Had a nice big block in it. It was pretty risky out there on the trail. It was nice.
Yeah, it was sweet. He had made his own, kind of the same style of bed that I had on my crawler that I have today. It had 205 in it. It was what, 4-speed?
Yeah, I've had an MP235 or 435 in it.
Yeah.
The old granny shifter 4-speed.
Yep.
38-inch super swampers, speed locks.
Yeah.
The run-of-the-mill stuff for a guy that's starting out
Yeah.
in four-wheel driving.
Yeah. When this is before we had a shop or anywhere to really live. Yeah, money was the main thing. It took every dime for me to be able to go get that truck down to Mississippi to be able to do it. I think even on the way back, Keith might have blew the head gaskets off the truck on the way back. We're pulling the truck, but I will say it was because of his driving style, not because of the towing.
It was all or nothing with Keith.
Yeah, it was all the gas or no gas. But.
That's one more highlight of that trip was the McDonald's. When we pulled into, Keith was a different character.
Yeah.
He was one of the funniest dudes you ever met.
Really missing.
We pulled into a drive-through and we were kind of hungry, and he said, "What can I get for $20?" That's all he said.
It's late.
The lady looked at him like, "Wait a minute." He said, "Food. How much food can I get for $20?" Because that's all we had. He gives her $20, and she gives us, I don't know how, that
large
sack
bag
was
is dollars.
full of food, and we ate every bit of it coming home.
Yeah, I think most of that majority of the massive bag of McDonald's was all the fried pies that
Yeah.
they have, which we found out later are made in Tulsa. Crazy.
Yeah.
But I bet there was at least 20 fried pies in that bag.
McChickens.
McChickens,
Wazoo.
McDoubles.
Yes.
Like she knew we didn't have very much money. You could tell.
We were hungry.
We were real hungry.
We had a heck of a trip.
We chowed down on that McDonald's.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
Caleb, man, I remember we didn't have all the cameras and phones and stuff then, but just watching it go down the road and watching the smile on his face, man, it was the beginning of all this.
Yeah, the sickness.
It was the beginning of the addiction for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And which, I was into it for a while before that, but it definitely sparks you up when you see I consider Caleb my brother from another mother, and when you see somebody happy like that, it makes you want to do it even more. And
Oh, yeah.
here we are, years and years later, pushing forward.
Yeah. And Ryan getting married, I got married to Olivia, and then Ryan got married to Bonnie. They're both sisters, real close. They've stayed close. Funny story now, we live about 250 yards away from each other now. He has property right next door. So we're still close. It's just one of those things. We've always been close. But the amazing thing about this is even whenever he wasn't married to Bonnie, we were working on our trucks at his place at the time. He was working on his, I'm working on mine. We're outside in the driveway.
In the snow.
I particularly remember a time putting his transfer case and transmission back in his Ford pickup. And I don't know if you guys have had experience with this, but that transmission with
Those
that 205,
MP435s are,
it's a boat anchor.
they're a beast of their own, and then having the 205 on the back.
Oh, and having a jack that has wheels, but then trying to roll around in gravel, it just doesn't work, guys.
We finally Chad came over and helped us.
Yes, that's right.
His brother Chad, he's a big old dude.
Yep.
He was on the back of that 205. Hurry up, get a bolt in it.
Yeah, it was all we could do, three of us, to get that thing in there, and it makes us, especially me, thankful for lifts, for jacks,
What a game
the right
changer.
tools. It just really.
What a game changer.
So we had some super humble beginnings. All that to be said, what we're doing here, but Ryan has been an inspiration to me because even during those days, he had Peterson's Off-Road magazine, stacks of it. In his bedroom, living room, I'm talking stacks this tall. So he'd been following it for a long, long time before me. I'm reading through it, and that's kind of the first time for me that I had ever seen, because YouTube wasn't really big at the time. I mean, they had YouTube, but it wasn't like it is nowadays. And so I remember looking up, you'd open a magazine and then seeing the Ultimate Adventure in there, and I'm thinking, wow, I wish I could afford to build this. I could buy this lift kit.
Dreams then.
Oh, yeah, it's just things that, for me, it was just like, I one day will get there. I just don't know when.
Exactly.
And so it gives you something to strive for. And I don't know, nowadays I know people don't have this. Yeah, exactly. But I remember waiting for magazines like that to come out and then going to the mailbox.
Hurry up and get down there.
Running down there after school, being like, I hope that magazine's there.
Read it before you get back to the house.
And I know Jared Jones, that used to be part of Peterson's, will understand this, but just seeing the full-size trucks in there and them doing what they're doing with it, it was always just like, oh, this is so cool, So, anyways.
Legends in our minds, man.
Yeah, for real. Right. I remember seeing like Rick Payway, those guys taking pictures of trucks with the wheel up in the air, wheeling. Like it just, it just down deep inside of you made you want it,
Yeah.
And so, Ryan started that early. The first time I ever pulled an engine, this is another great story, was with Ryan. He was working at the time for a company in Tulsa, doing basically field service work, dump trucks, equipment, all kind of stuff. This is pre me being a fireman. I was a volunteer at the time, and so I was doing it on a per call basis, trying to get my foot in the door to become a full-time fireman. So Ryan, he's working full time. There's days I just go hang out with him. We go work on stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and see and that's kind of my first taste of field work, and seeing the amount of different projects that you get as being a field tech.
Yeah.
And Ryan dealt with those problems all the time. People that don't know how to drive dump trucks, working on them.
Oh gosh, yeah. So many. Anybody that deals with dump truck drivers would know. No offense to any of the good ones. There
There's
are
a lot of bad
There are a
ones.
lot of guys out there that should be doing something else, cutting grass or something. But I guess that's job security for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I worked out there, and Caleb, he has a drive with anything that he does, but you know, he wanted to come out there and hang out and see it and check it out. And once he got a taste, he's like, man, let's work on some stuff. Let's do some stuff. And he started getting into it more. Caleb, I mean, he didn't have any tools.
Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking zero.
And at first in our rekindled friendship, I was like, maybe this guy just wants me around for my tools. No,
Yeah.
no, because I had my service truck, and
Now he had everything.
we was tearing apart anything we could. But no, I had a side job that I had, putting an engine in, pulling an engine, reinstalling a new one in a Dodge pickup, and we were talking. I said, hey, he said, you want if I come? I said, yeah. You lend a hand, I'll pay you. Let's do it.
Yep.
And he's like, man, this is crazy. You know, he'd never done anything like that
Yeah.
before. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
And
2-car garage setup.
man, that was the start of the mechanic world for Caleb.
Well, for me, I never pulled an engine. I'd never done anything that invasive. It was awesome. I learned a lot, and you know the thing about Ryan is he kind of started that in me, that if it can be pulled apart, it can be put back together. You know, and at the time I'm thinking that's very complex. It was what 5.0 or 4.3 something.
That was
whatever.
It was a Mac.
4.6, yeah. It was just a Dodge pickup V8, the small V8, and I remember being like, "Oh my gosh, like this is gonna be so hard." Yeah, we had that truck tore apart, but we literally in 3 days had the job completely done, running, driving, no problem.
Yeah, that engine's still in that truck today.
Yeah, and it's still going.
Driving
But
around.
it goes to show you, like, at the beginning, I get people that will message me now. How do you get in? I don't know how you do that. Like that's got to be so
Yeah,
complicated.
he taught you that.
Who's the one that started you out? And it's like, no, you just have to know if you can take it apart, you can put it back together. It's not a big deal.
That's right.
So
You got to have the drive to get from point A to point B, start to finish. And I admire Caleb, man. He's taken it just light years from where we started,
oh man,
because he has that drive and the ability to see something, even past my abilities. Sometimes it's like I look at things and I'm like, Caleb, you're biting off way more than I think you understand. That the dude always gets there to the end, and I'm like, hey man, good for you. Like,
Yeah.
I wish that I had that drive on a lot of things, but
you just got to stay hooked up, man.
so we're kind of going revolving here. I started
Yeah.
teaching Caleb at the beginning, and
For sure.
now I'm learning a lot of things from Caleb because of the level that he's taken it to is beyond what I did, especially with the computer stuff and all that.
Yeah, you got to keep evolving. I call it a profession. I know we do other things. Ryan has a full-time job. He works for the Department of Defense, and I work as a fireman full-time. We both have full-time jobs. Well, we kind of also have full-time jobs doing this, because when you're working on these trucks, and I own the shop here, you are immersed in it.
Yeah.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's one thing I'm appreciative is. From the beginning is you got to stay up on your knowledge.
Yeah.
You got to continually keep learning. And Ryan always instilled that, even on dump trucks and stuff like that. He'd call his grandpa
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, have you ever worked on this before?" And he'd be like, "Yep, this is what you need to do. You're going to need this, this, and this."
Yeah.
And he would give you tips to be able, and you'd be like, "All right, cool, I can do that." And he wasn't afraid to get in there and do it, because especially somebody else had already done it.
Yeah.
So he kind of had a little bit of a hand up.
They can do it, I can do it.
Exactly.
That's kind of the thought process we have.
Now we do, for sure. I mean, I literally, if I have trouble with something, I don't mind doing research or talking to somebody that knows.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to know what's going on and what to do, and it's one of those things in our profession as working on stuff. If you can take it apart, like I said, you can put it back together. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So Ryan's been here for the long haul, I guess you could say. If I could sum it up in a way, that would be the way to say it. He's been here from the beginning. So fast forward a couple of years, a couple of kids later, Ryan, lives next door. We're kind of at a point in our life where, we don't feel old yet. Well, some days we do, but we don't feel old. And we've gotten to the point to where we just want to enjoy and have a good time whenever we're not working full time, which is what we mainly do, work. But we've talked about this a lot. This is not work. Whenever we're building and making things, this isn't work.
It's therapy.
It's therapeutic. There's guys, which I'm not this type of guy that will mow grass, and that's therapeutic. I can't do that. It's a chore to me. But Ryan, he likes mowing grass. He enjoys taking care of his yard. His is probably the best yard in Washington County, to be honest with you. But, everybody has their thing. And, for me, building and making and fabricating stuff, that's my thing. I love it when I can throw my AirPods in and I can just go to work and I can just keep going because I feel like I get the most stuff done.
Yeah, I feel like time stands still when you're doing that.
Yes. And you're just in your own world just doing
Yeah.
it. It's a great feeling.
Sure is.
So, so here we are, like I said, fast forward. That kind of gives you a little bit of background of how we got here. I opened up this shop. Ryan worked for me for almost 2 years doing stuff, and Ryan had the opportunity to get a better job working for the Department of Defense using his law enforcement background. And so Ryan has gotten, he's light years ahead now. He's a supervisor. He's doing great in that aspect. He's doing awesome. So just in the past year, we've kind of gotten where we're traveling, and mainly because of the truck that I've built. And so I think that's kind of been some of maybe pushing Ryan to get his truck going.
I missed it after I got rid of some of my other stuff, and then Caleb, man, like the drive, he brings in a truck on a trailer that's, I'm like, here we go again.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna be. And it was a year progress, but man, it's that truck's badass.
It's doing its work. It's doing its job for what I designed it to do.
It sure does. It impresses everyone, including me, and I couldn't be prouder to be a part of it. Just being able to ride along in it and have a good time all over the world in this thing, or
So far.
the country anyway, not the world, but
Yeah,
we've been all over east to west with this thing, and
it's done great so far.
man, it's ripping it up.
Yeah, so, on Ryan's truck, I kind of want to highlight this. And so the purpose of the build, I'll kind of let Ryan go in, kind of talk about that. Because, I know what my truck is and the purpose of mine is. I built mine. My goal was to get on Ultimate Adventure. So I think anybody who follows Peterson's Off-Road Magazine or Four Wheeler now or Motor Trend now, that's like the ultimate goal. Like, like if you get to there,
That's
like,
the bar.
it's set where, I know a lot of people put out for it to try to get it. And, last year we got close, made it to the Dirty Dozen.
Oh, yeah.
I was proud of that,
That's
but
a huge feat, man.
I had barely wheeled that truck a couple of times at that point, and honestly now I'm thankful. Like, I've thought about this a lot over this past year especially. I'm thankful I've got to wheel it and use it because I've been able to refine it, and I think it's going to have even a better chance going forward to be able to make it. And I guarantee I will be applying again, and I hope Ryan does too soon enough. But so that was my purpose. So I'll kind of let Ryan go in and talk about some of his things, because I know his truck, it's alike in a lot of ways, but it's going to be different. So I'll let him talk about that.
No, we found this truck, well, I'll back up. Caleb's truck is amazing, and I wanted a rock crawler again, and we talked about going to do this stuff, getting more serious about it, you could say.
Oh yeah.
And so Caleb, man, he jumped off in the pool head first, and he has that truck that he has now, and it's amazing. And I thought, I'd like to have this truck, just a few more of the things that I wanted in a pickup truck / crawler.
Right. All right, we're back. That's part of owning a business is people show up and want to pick up their stuff that we work on. So I get used to it even on the weekends. That's why I'm big about the quiet and nobody bothering us. But anyways, back to what Ryan was saying, I'll let him go back into it.
Where we were at exactly.
Well, just talking about the purpose of the build, Ryan, you were going over, kind of the way mine performed, and I know you liked some of the aspects of that. So.
Yeah, going back to the style that I wanted was I basically wanted a bulk truck, but with a little more room. After we went to Moab, I think I learned a little bit. No, Caleb's truck's great, but when you have to take a lot of stuff with you, you need a little more room.
Yep.
After that trip, we learned a lot from that trip.
Oh, man.
And I was thinking, man, I want some more space for some more stuff,
Yes.
tools, parts, extra stuff for other people. You never know when someone's going to have an accident, and there's things that you need that we didn't have or other people had, fortunately. I mean, and also the crew cab, being because I have a family.
Yep.
After we wheeled with Caleb's, they kind of sparked a little interest that they might want to go. So I started hunting down a crew cab and found this one on Facebook Marketplace. And
It's a Cygnus.
it is. And thankfully, it had a lot of good parts on it already, which I've only kept maybe the engine and transmission from that. But Caleb has a way of changing your mind. If you're going to do it right. So he does that to me on about everything that I work on, and it doesn't tear it completely apart. And so with that being said, I wanted a crew cab because I wanted the more room, and I wanted to be able to take my family. If we want to go to town in this truck. I mean, the reason I'm building this truck the way that I am is around that. It's going to be a capable rig that we can do whatever we want to, man. And one of those things that I get a lot of questions about that Caleb and I have talked about and busted our heads over is this right here. Just to kind of clear this up with everybody that's asked me about it, thinking that I'm crazy, because the truck came with this PSE full hydro steering, which is amazing, for a purpose. The purpose being off-road. I know you can drive it on the road if you want, but for reasons after we drove this one when I first brought it home, it was a little western over 30, 40 miles an hour.
I had zero knowledge of. I've seen this on a lot of buggies, a lot of different wheeling rigs I know of that have great success, but I had never personally experienced the way this drove, how it drove, the characteristics. So I didn't have any expectations going into it. So when you bought this, I didn't know what to think.
Yeah, and maybe there were some things that weren't up to par on the build that the previous owner did.
Oh, for sure.
We found out a lot of things afterwards, not to beat that guy up.
Nope.
But there's a lot of things that you do have to address that
Safety being number
were
one
not
concern.
correct, that made it unsafe to drive.
Correct.
It was very, very dangerous to drive on the road, to say the least. And we can drive anything with wheels and a lot of things without, so we're used to it.
Yeah.
We were expecting it. Had someone drove it that wasn't expecting it, you would have been in the ditch upside down.
Oh, guaranteed.
The truck was ditch to ditch, all over the road. So the safety factor, I thought, we probably could make this work just fine.
Oh, you definitely can.
But after talking to Caleb, seeing how his works, I talked to Stephen Watson from Offroad Design, who is one of the, I would consider the man in the game for square body pickups for sure, and off-road, whatever. The guy is super knowledgeable in a great way that he can explain it.
He's basically an engineer, literally, before he's an off-roader. Like he loves wheeling, he loves taking these trucks and making them great, but he's an engineer. His mind works in different facets.
He knows not just that it does work, he knows why it works and why it works well and what doesn't work well.
Correct.
And after some long conversations with him, thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. You're great.
Sorry about it so much. But no, he wants to pass on the knowledge, and that's what's great. That's why he uses Offroad Design. And
correct.
We rep their stuff. They're not a sponsor.
Nope.
But we love their stuff. It's great.
It just works.
He talked me into this kit, which is the same one that Caleb has.
Yep.
It's a PSE Hydro Assist, but with this, the only thing you have between the driver and the road is these hoses.
Correct.
I mean, you have this, which is on the axle, and then for those that don't know, some people that watch this probably do know.
Yep.
There's nothing between you, so if something breaks, you're along for the ride.
Yep,
And
that's right.
so I wanted something a little more road friendly that will also work well off road. And after a lot of research and talk to those guys, this kit is PSC Hydro Assist, which runs a regular gearbox. So you have your steering, it goes down your gearbox, down to your axle, down to the, which I think is a lot more safe and a lot more effective for what I'm trying to do with this truck. I'm not trying to make this truck 100% rock crawler buggy kind of thing like that. Down the road, I'm going to build something like that and probably use this on it.
Yeah.
So that's great. I already have it. But with that being said, that's why I went that route to clear that up. A lot of people thought I was nuts for going away from the full hydro because it's obviously kind of the head of the game there when you have that.
Oh, yeah.
You can steer these. I'm running 40-inch tires on it, maybe a little taller. I'm not sure yet. There again. This guy's great.
We'll see.
He's great at talking you into things.
We'll see.
So Stephen and Caleb and everybody, Brad, Aaron, they've all talked to me about this.
Yeah.
And the other thing was I talked to Aaron Leishman. He said, which I confirmed through a lot of other people, was when you have full hydro, you get to find out where your weak points are on everything else. Because
it's going to turn.
that thing's going to turn no matter where you're bound up, which is good in some places and bad otherwise. And I didn't want to do that. I don't want to tear my truck up if I don't have to. So that's why I went that route. And I'm going to be super happy with it because obviously it works great with his and everybody else's that runs it. Got to see a lot of them on Full Size Invasion that have it. And I really was watching a lot of those guys. You know, I was watching what they have, what works, what I didn't like. So I know not to do that. So I'm kind of ahead of the game on some of these people because I got to see all of their stuff in action and working. So I wanted to take what's great about Caleb's, what's great about trucks like Jenkins' truck. James Jenkins has a crew cab that's basically the convertible truck that Stephen Watson has.
Yeah, it's tan, just like
extended out. I wanted to take what's great about all these trucks and kind of throw them into one, put them into this truck.
Yeah.
Build kind of the ultimate adventure truck. I'm not going to say UA truck, but that truck where we can drive from here to Florida if we want to, and we can go crawl anywhere we want to, Pritchett Canyon, and run it successfully without tearing things up, or the thought of, hey, I can't really do this because I'm going to break something. I don't want that thought in the back of my head. I want to know that this thing's as bulletproof as you can make it. I know things break. Caleb broke a chromoly Yukon axle at Moab with not what we thought shouldn't have broke at that point, but
it just happened.
But it happens, you know, when you're wheeling, you're breaking stuff, unless you're just pussyfooting around, and we don't. So
no, we send them. That's the thing.
We have to build them pretty strong. That's why we're frame plating the whole thing. I mean,
all the way, front to back.
Thing's going to be strong, but like I said, just want to take all the good things of other vehicles and combine them into one.
Yeah, and that's what's great about, for me, you know, I had done a lot of research on my own. You know, I called Stephen and bugged him multiple times throughout my process, which is kind of the caveat to that is you're not bothering Stephen. He loves talking about this stuff. I feel bad because I feel like I'm taking his time because he's just, his knowledge on these trucks and the way they work is unmatched. Like there's no one in the game. You can say what you want. There's no one in the game that's got it figured out like Off-Road Design does for this setup, full-size rigs. But going to wanting to go to UA, going to full-size Invasion and getting to see all these trucks in action, for me, was vindicating because all my research about what I did was like, okay, I'm seeing them run the same setup, even though I hadn't been here before, and they're successful and have been successful, and so I'm hoping I can be successful too.
You were.
You can ask Ryan, I did not. People were looking at my truck the first day.
Yeah.
And this is
Before
not
we
saying.
touch the rocks.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, that thing's gonna do great, and I was like, we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not that type of guy. I've never been that way.
Trip, so.
Yeah, I'd never been to Moab. I had never set up anything before. I had never built something this extreme. And so I did a lot of research. It's taken me well over a year to get it where it is now. And so like for Ryan, what's cool, and I appreciate it too, is he's gotten to see not only the parts that I used and some of the trucks obviously on, you know, full size being used. You get to take that and kind of put your own flavor on his truck. And that's what's cool about, like, you know, looking back, yeah, I probably should have went with the crew cab. Like, that would have been smart. But I'd use what I had at the time and, you know, what I wanted. And the wheelbase on my truck works great. I love the way it works. It doesn't, in my opinion, I feel like that 113, 114, 116, I feel like that's a really, really good wheelbase.
Stable.
It wheels.
It's a very stable truck.
Yeah.
A lot of bad situations. Didn't feel bad at all. It didn't look bad.
Yeah.
And it was successful. I mean, it made a lot of really bad things look easy. Not to say that, you know, we're better than anybody else, but
No.
Caleb built a rig that works.
Yeah, and it is just literally, I'm so thankful. I want to reiterate this even more. I am thankful for people like, you know, James Watt, you know, James Jenkins, who's I'm able to bounce stuff off of and be like, hey, you know, what do you think about this? Well, Aaron, you know, we met a ton of good people at Full Size Invasion.
Sure.
Shout out to Jared for putting on Full Size Invasion, because I'm telling you right now, that thing is so awesome. The type of people that you meet are awesome. The rigs that you get to see, just the whole thing in general, getting to wheel, the whole setup, like it's chill. If you guys are on the fence about going, just get your truck ready, even if it's not as extreme as what I built or what Ryan's building. It doesn't matter. We had guys on Full Size that drove leaf springs and had no problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't have to have.
Aaron's truck full leaf springs, and his truck did literally everything.
That dude will send it.
No, he has no backup in him. He's just gonna go.
Yeah, you don't have to have $1 million rig to go have fun.
Nope.
And to wheel, and I think that's this day and time. Everybody gets caught up on that. You know, they'll take something and think, well, it's not like so and so it's not going to perform. Full Size FOOL has a long bed single cab.
You guys have seen it. I'm
Square
sure.
body. It's yellow and white. If you look up YouTube Full
I think
Size,
it's like a 78 or 79.
I think so. Yeah, that thing's on leaf springs and 42s, and it's not anything crazy at all. And that
works,
thing, he takes it everywhere, and it works great. He has a good time, and that's what it's all about in the end time. Is if you're out there having a good time with your friends, I think that's a success. And if you're able to build things like this, great.
Yeah, more power to you.
We didn't start off that way.
Oh, heck no.
This has been 20 years in the making of us getting to this point. So that's why I am building this truck, and I'm investing in this truck because it's investing in us and our relationship,
Correct.
my family's relationship, and all the guys that I'm meeting along the trail. The true off-road community is a great community of people.
Awesome.
There are a lot of bad apples out there that don't know how to pick up after themselves and they act stupid, but that's not the crew we hang out with. And that is not Full Size Invasion at all.
No.
That's the first time we met those guys, and
we felt like family immediately.
as soon as we stepped out of the truck, we were eating pizza. We walked out to the truck, and there's some people out there that was checking out Caleb's truck, and we got to talking to them, and they were there with Full Size. And so we got to talking to them, and man, it was like we were best friends with them from right then. Yeah. Like we knew them forever.
Yeah, we had been there literally all of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
People are underneath my truck looking at it, asking me about
Right on
it.
Main Street.
You know, and we're like, you know, I wasn't expecting that, to be honest with you. I didn't know what to expect, and so I told Ryan, even on the way up there, I'm like, man, I'm going to leave my mind open to see what's going to happen, because I had been watching Full Size Invasion on YouTube for a couple of years, you know, and so I didn't know what to expect. But
well, the lot of crews around here, I mean, people want to go wheeling, and with wheeling is drinking until you're irresponsible and don't know how to make good decisions.
Yeah.
And we don't do that on the trail. We don't do that at home. We don't participate in that crap. No. So we wanted to be with a group that was safe, for one, because there's a lot of things out there that can get you hurt or worse, especially at Moab. And those people are that. You know, when something happens to you, big or small, the whole group is right there to help.
Yep.
And that's the community that people need to see in the off-road community, because that's what it really is. And we're just trying to get that out there too.
Yeah.
And try to be a part of that, and try try to show people through us that that's what it is.
That is it. And it's just like, you know, we talked about this before, but, you know, having the welding machine, the Premier Power Welder on the truck,
Yeah.
how helpful, like all times I've wheeled with that truck with a group, I've used it every time.
Yeah.
And none of that's been for my truck, which is fine. I hope that I don't have to use it on my truck, but just in case it's there. And so, like, for instance, you know, last day of the trail, Kyle from Off-Road Design was there, broke his drive shaft, twisted it up, it was bent, it was all messed up. We were able to roll the truck up beside it, get a measurement a couple of times, and get no, not me. I was just the welder, and Ryan was the weldee. So yeah, it was just anyway. The story goes, it got fixed. So he was able to drive that truck off the trail, and it was halfway into the trail, literally.
Oh yeah.
He either had to go back, which wasn't going to be an easy track, or go the rest of the way, which is maybe a hair easier. So he made it. That's the key, and we were able to fix it and get it going.
And he drove it.
You did not have one person. This is what I wanted to stress here. Not one person said, "F this, I'm leaving, I'm out of here."
No.
Everyone hung out on the trail.
It was hot.
It was really hot, and they hung in there until we got Kyle's truck finished up. No one was hurrying us.
Yep.
They let us get the job done. We got it done, and we left, and everybody as a group left together as one.
And we were probably the third or fourth in line. He was above us.
Yep.
So we drove up there, but to say that there was 20 more rigs behind us,
Oh.
and everyone just shut them down and had a good time.
Yeah, they just hung out. They had, you know, something to drink, something to eat. Everybody takes snacks. I mean, the key is here, and this is what I want to stress, is that it is a family-oriented type of
Yeah, it really is.
It's not.
People have their kids there. Brad had his son with them. And
Yep. Bob had his wife and his daughter with him. We did Pritchett Canyon.
Yep.
I tell people
She was asleep.
She was asleep, and she's on a was it rocker?
Rocker knocker, just
She's just laying in her car seat, half of
Knocked out.
asleep, just having. But that's normal for them,
Yeah.
you know. And so it's a family setup, and that's the thing, guys. Is we're trying to build something where, you know, Ryan obviously can take his family out if he wants to, or if not, he doesn't have to, like James that we wheel with all the time, with the tan crew cab. His truck has room for 4 people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just him and his wife, you know. Sometimes he brings a co-driver that's part of, you know, full size.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, we're this is not just a hang out, drink beer, and, you know, go and, you know, slam your truck on the side of a rock. Like, that's not what it's about.
no, that's more serious for us.
We like the technicality of it.
Yeah, we like to build things. Caleb's a great fabricator. I'm still learning with that. But we're trying to get better at this stuff and
Yep.
and maybe make something of it one day.
Yeah.
So there is a main goal ahead of us, and we're trying to invest in the right things, the right people, the right parts, and
Yeah.
show off kind of what we can do, and we're getting there.
Yeah.
And we're having a good time at it. And that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only way, it's like in life, it's the same way. You just got to do stuff. You got to get out there and do it, and that's how you get better at it. You know, we really like going to wheel, but I almost maybe enjoy the fabricating part of refining my truck more than I do wheeling. I mean, because wheeling's fun, but getting it set up exactly like you want it and making it how you want it to work, and then going out and making it work and seeing it work, that's like the most defining moment.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, man, this thing works.
Feel accomplished.
Exactly.
And I built my own 2 hands is working.
So we keep going back to this, and this is another thing that I wanted to talk about is choosing the right parts and why we choose the parts we use. In the beginning, when I did my truck, you guys know there's the square body full size guy is Off-Road Design, Stephen Watson. He's the guy. You go check out anything. If you guys have followed UA, they've been to almost every UA in some type of form or facet in a vehicle. They've been a sponsor. For years, Warren Winch. I mean, just, you see some of these things that have just proven themselves over time. PSC, who makes this box, also this full hydro setup, that's a very common name in the game. I mean, you see King of the Hammers guys running this setup, PSC. I mean, it's just a proven company.
Yeah.
You know, for me, you know, just getting all of that advice has been huge. Being able to reach out to Steven and say, what do you think about this? And in the beginning, Steven going, yeah, I don't think I'd do that, was super helpful, because
Yep.
I would have messed up and spent who knows how much money trying to get it
Trying to
right.
learn that lesson. And that's what's great about people like Steven. He will pass on his knowledge. He doesn't just keep it and get, those young guys, they need to learn themselves. You know, we need more guys like that because there's not too many of us left,
No,
you know, and the way the world is, everybody knows it's kind of wild and we don't know how long we're going to be able to do this anymore. So we've got to advocate for everything that we can that's good in this world of
yeah.
off-roading and building things, fabricating and all that. So
So for me too, you know, like I know Ryan, his truck started off, when he bought it, it had a 5.3 LS in it, 4L80, which is, in my opinion, a really good recipe already. His had a 203, 205 doubler in it, which James has in his truck, works great for him. No problems. He loves it. You know, this truck was already, it already came with Cuck axles, which you guys, if you don't know about Cuck axles, it's like I said, a 14 bolt. It's a 60 in the front, GM Dana 60. So it's a really good platform. It's well proven over time that it works really good. The Cuck comes with 456 axles, gears, not a big deal. They always work good. That's what James has in his, and he likes it. Yours already has the locker in the back. The front axle is open, but Ryan's working on fixing that right now.
Harmon's is working on it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Harmon, we've used Harmon's. They've been really good in Tulsa, Oklahoma. For the front axle, my rear axle, I had them do the build on my truck on the axle wise, and they did awesome. Highly recommend if you're looking for somebody to do custom work or even just regular work. They do a lot of everything there. So big time into four-wheeling for years and years and years, way before me and Ryan's time.
They're like family to me. Harmon four-wheel drive is great.
Yep.
Teddy and Dave and Isaiah and all them.
Great people.
They're awesome.
Good to work with. They're family people that want to see you do well. They're not just into making money, like they want to see you do well.
Yeah, Dave's the same kind of Steven, man. He'll pour out into you. He wants you to know everything he knows.
Yep.
So if you're around here and you need something, give him a call.
So Ryan kind of took out, so I kind of want to go over just the setup. Like my truck is the same way. Mine's got an LS, it's 6.2, 4L80, full manual valve body. It's reverse pattern though. It's really the only difference between mine and Ryan's. I have the Magnum, which Ryan went ahead and ordered a Magnum because he saw how well it did. And I think, you know, it kind of speaks for itself. Everybody kind of knows. If you guys follow anybody that four wheels some of these full size trucks, the Magnum is known to be bomb. It's a reduction box. It just gives you so many more options.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
It's a small package.
It's really small. It's not super heavy. That's the name of the game when it comes to full size.
Yeah, especially a crew cab that's going to be heavier. I'm trying to save weight everywhere that I can, so it's not so heavy and hard on the drivetrain and the axles and everything like that. So
every little bit counts.
that's right. Every ounce counts on one of these.
So he's gonna stick with the 205. It's a GM version instead of the Ford like on mine, because his came with the axles already. So he's ahead of the game in a lot of aspects because his truck came that way. So Ryan's truck started life as a two-wheel drive. Mm-hmm. So it was what they would call, I guess, a C30.
C30.
Which no big deal. The main differences that I have found, I'm sure you've looked into it, has been the frame. It's really just different on the cross members, you know, in the front and in the back. It's really the depth of it. The metal is the same. I know on some of the OBS trucks, the actual steel, I've learned this, is thinner on a two-wheel drive truck versus a four-wheel drive truck. So I'm thankful on square bodies that it's that way because all we have to do is box the frame in, which if you guys remember on mine, I did the same thing. I boxed mine in. Mine Boney did not look near as cool and as trick as Ryan's is. Ryan, gosh, I should have done this exact thing, but I didn't know about Rob Body. If you're looking for somebody to build you some frame plates for a square body, look up Rob Body. He's the man. He makes half ton, 3/4 ton, 1 ton, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, frame plates. He makes all of that for these trucks. They're just, in my opinion,
Where they just fit right into the
yeah. Look how they're
dimple
dimpled.
dyed. Got a lot of rigidity in its chain.
Yeah.
So
Looks great.
Looks great. That's what we're at.
That's what, yeah, we're after the functionality of it, and boxing the frame in is gonna make it way more strong, which is what we're after. So Ryan's doing that. He's already got an off-road design engine cross member, so it's a high clearance cross member, so it's made for the ultra flex of the coilover. So Ryan's doing the same exact kit from off-road design on the front with the coilovers.
14 and 16.
14s to 16s.
2.5 inch.
Yep. It's, you know, he's doing King bump stops. They are looking awesome. I can't wait to get that all set up.
Yeah.
We've already got all his brackets on his axle. I know you guys have already seen that. So they're just getting built right now down at Harmon, so we can start working on that. So we're just waiting on a few parts right now.
Yep.
The main thing is the Magnum box. I think it's maybe a week out, Ryan was saying. Torque converter should be in here anytime.
Pretty close.
So we'll be getting that. Once we get the torque converter in and the transmission put back in there, put the Magnum box on, the transfer case, we'll be able to put the frame plates in on down the side, the rest of it, because we almost got it done. Ryan's been working really hard on getting them all fit up. He did all the grunt work, and I call it the grinding work, because there's a lot of grinding.
Got the steering all set up now where it's gonna live.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's you know, and it's like any build, guys. You guys got to start at the bare bones.
That's it.
If you want it to be strong, if you want it to last, and you don't want to have it break on the trail on you, just go ahead and spend the extra time. We've learned this on more than just square bodies. Use the right parts, don't cheap out, and just do it right the first time.
Start fresh and clean. That way you're not trying to weld through junk and all that. You know, just get everything out of the way where you can do it right. You're not trying to work around things.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, you got to do that. If you're going to build stuff like this and go that in depth, just tear it down. That way you know what you got when you're done with it too. Mm-hmm. Every bolt, nut you've touched, something breaks, you know what it is, you know how to fix it.
Oh, definitely.
That helps a lot in this world.
So another disclaimer here I wanted to bring up is we're doing coilovers on this. But I just want to tell you guys, even if you're not doing coilovers, if you're going to stay with the leaf springs, which I'm not hating on leaf springs at all, because guess what? For years and years, that's what I used. The square body, the Cuck V's, they come with leaf springs. All right, we're back after some camera difficulties. So one thing I know I've said quite a bit is about the time you start getting some progress made. I swear these GoPro batteries either get hot or go bad. So anyways, it's just part of the life. You hear about it all the time. Welcome to our special guest, Lulu. She likes to throw a rock around and make sure that you throw it for her. So anyways, back to the main thing. We're gonna keep the main thing the main. So back to what we were talking about with the parts. So Ryan's got the 5.3, the 4L80, the MP205, the Magnum box. So he's what I would call making a really, really good proven recipe. And he's smart because the people that have that proven recipe that we have seen have done really well.
Yeah.
You don't see people with the Magnum box having issues. And that's one thing I told Ryan whenever we were in Moab about the Magnum, why I spent the money, because it is expensive to get it, because it just works. A lot of people have them. I mean, you watch builds every single day, like one of the shows we really like to watch that got canceled, Dirt Every Day.
Yeah.
It seemed like one of the big fat time things they would use every time was a Magnum box.
Dave still does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we still watch Dave. Yeah, we still watch Dave and Fred's YouTube channels now. They do all kinds of different stuff. Super good people, by the way. Shout out to Dave and Fred. We met them at SEMA again. Super cool dudes. We had a great time. Thanks for just welcoming us as friends. It was awesome, man. Getting to see Louis Vuitton up close and personal at the Real Truck booth at SEMA Fest. Made it worth it. It was cool, man.
Over there.
So we're thankful for people like that had those shows, and now they're carrying on with their YouTube channels. I follow them and watch every videos that they put out. I mean, even on Dave's, I'm not really a lowrider guy, but I'm intrigued by
You're a fabrication guy, so
exactly. And so I kind of am a lowrider guy.
Yeah.
It's the fabrication skills, especially with Dave. He can do stuff with tubers, like bending.
Yeah.
It's amazing what he can do. He's awesome at that.
so good at taking it from here to real life.
And that's the mark of a true fabricator, guys, is whenever you can take something that you're looking at and you can write it out or draw it out with a piece of chalk and make it. When you make it work, that shows that you got a lot more going on than just here's two rocks rubbing together, to make a little heat. So I'm pretty excited to see how Ryan's combo works. His wheelbase, what we measure it to be, it's going to be around like 130, maybe a little.
I can't remember exactly what it is.
I thought it was right around 130, which basically a 131 and a half is like a long bed single cab pickup. It's like 130.
I think it was 133. The frame has been chopped.
Yeah.
In the rear, it's a short bed crew cab. Very short bed.
Yeah, the step side bed he has on it now, which is not stock. It didn't come that way. I've never seen a stock four-wheel drive crew cab truck with
I
a
don't
step
even know
side
if they
bed.
made them. They could have.
I don't know. But his wheelbase is going to be longer, but we know it works. I mean, we see James and Bob. He's got a truck. It's a 70s, 80s Dodge pickup. Four-door,
big Bob
long bed, through 360 or no,
yeah.
318? What? I can't remember. It's a
I don't
V8.
remember, but it's got a Dodge V8 in it.
Yep.
And
it just goes.
man, I don't think he probably 42s on that thing or something. Those tires, and
He was doing all kinds of
he
stuff.
does it, man. The only time I saw him broke was that rocker knocker.
Yep.
Broke a steering joint or something.
Yeah, it was a Heim joint for
Yeah.
the steering.
But to say, I mean, that long beds don't work.
Oh, no.
I've seen it with my own eyes, and very impressive.
It's a
Changed my mind big time on buying this vehicle, because I almost didn't, because long beds are not what you would normally do, or long
would think.
wheelbase. Both things. With the right driving abilities and skills, you can really throw a long bed truck somewhere.
And let's be honest, guys, too, here. Let's just give, the elephant in the room is 4-link setup is just, it's light years ahead. And I like I said a while ago, I'm not knocking on leaf springs because they work. We wheel with guys that make leaf springs work, no problem. But the rebound and the way that the 4-link responds off-road is unmatched.
Keeps the traction on the ground.
There's no hop. The thing I noticed is whenever you're going up certain things and you gotta have some speed and you're bumping rocks,
Action.
you have a little bit of the porpoise up and down and it's bouncing, and then you end up breaking drive lines, drive shafts, flanges. Yeah, you're gonna break something. And with the coilovers, I don't remember my truck ever having a problem.
Oh, it doesn't twist like that.
So,
And then the 4-link keeps your axle wrapping from happening.
yeah.
Those leaf springs, they want to wrap real hard when you get to bouncing like that.
So right along with that too, and I know Ryan's experienced this too, whenever you see a guy like Stephen Watson taking his truck, the convertible K30 that they have, out to full-size Invasion on, I don't know, every UA since what, till 2015, I think is the first year that they had the convertible truck on UA.
Yep.
It's never been broke. I mean, they've had little stuff that's happened. They haven't broke. He's got a Magnum. He's got the same coilover setup that my truck has and Ryan truck has. Same coilover setup. It has bypass shocks that are way more tuned, but the hard parts like the axle stuff, all that's going down on the axle, the brackets, the hoops for the coilovers, all of that system, the link bars, the brackets, that's all on his truck. So
It's the same recipe.
Yeah.
You can buy it for years, bro.
seeing it in action though, it makes you even more confident about spending the amount of money that you have to spend. Because it is expensive, let's be honest. Like, it is very expensive,
Yeah.
but you got to look at it as an investment.
You're gonna spend some money up front, but once the spending is done, then you can have fun with it. Not to say the thing won't break, but when you buy good parts, they have good warranties.
Correct.
And that's a huge thing. The thing that made me a believer is watching Caleb's truck, but watching an obstacle that Caleb's truck struggled on, and seeing a guy like Stephen Watson make it look like it was a walk in the park in the same setup vehicle.
Yep.
It tells me that when you put the time in like he does,
Yep.
after talking to him at dinner one night when we ate tacos, him and Jared, he tells us that when he puts something on his truck, he immediately goes and tests it.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't like it, he brings it back, tweaks it, and he goes and tests it again, and so on and so forth. That's why that stuff works so good. And it just makes you want to put in the time.
Yes.
Make it that good.
Yeah.
You know?
It's inspiration for me because he walked up, I can't remember what that's called. It ain't Rocker Knocker, it was Rock Chucker.
Rock
That's what it's
Chucker.
called. He went up, and if you guys go follow Full Size Invasion on Instagram, Facebook, you'll see it. He goes up an obstacle that on video does not look like it's
a rock
that big.
in this truck.
Yeah, he goes
Straight up and down.
It's a climb with a rock that you turtle out on, the belly pan on basically, and then it's got another ledge above that, and you got to hit it with just enough speed and just enough finesse and knowing where the line is to get up it. And Steven walked up it like it was
One time, just
like a duck in water. It was amazing. He kind of, moved around a little bit, kind of got around on it, and then he backed up and then just hit it, and he goes right up it,
no crazy stuff. Just
Nope, it went right up it like a duck in water.
5 other vehicles tried it. Nobody could make it.
Yeah, everyone tried
People
it.
that know what they're doing.
Exactly. Guys that we were reeling with that had been on full size many times, tried it, didn't make it. I mean, there was a guy who had a really nice built Cherokee.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this thing
I
was,
thought for sure.
it was doing everything.
Casey.
Yeah, Casey Littlejohn, I think is his
Yeah.
name. He's on Instagram. Cool. It's a LS powered Cherokee,
Yeah.
1 tons.
They wheel all the time. Him and Kaepernick, whatever his name is.
Carter.
Carter.
Yep.
With that old Dodge, a 50s
Yep.
Dodge.
Yeah, cool story about that. We show up to Hell's Revenge morning to start
Yeah.
the trail. They got there. Casey and Carter got there. He pulls up and I'm checking his truck out, and you can tell him, he had built it, but I look down, there's vice grips on one of the calipers for one of the brake lines, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I remember telling Jared, like, dude, you
I
need to
think
talk to this guy.
Everyone there, no offense, Carter, but it looked rough until we found out why you did certain things. We were like, oh man. Because
We don't know.
that
we don't know
trail is not one that you want your brakes to go out on or you want
No.
something stupid to happen.
No.
And you definitely changed everyone's outlook on your truck.
You definitely impressed me. I'll be honest with you. I did not think that truck was going to do some of the things it did. And, hats off to you, man. It's a wheeling machine. That
Yes,
thing does
it
great.
is.
I think you just got some small tweaks that you're going to make to even make it even better.
Oh, he's made a ton more.
Yeah, I've been following him. If you guys haven't followed Carter, go follow him on Instagram. He's pretty cool. It's a dark green 50s Dodge pickup. And anyways, it's got a Cherokee engine in it, a 4.0. He built it himself. I mean, this guy is he's the real deal. And again, Full Size Invasion, you meet people like this from all around the country.
Yeah.
Like, we met people from Texas, California, Idaho.
Say where they're from?
Oh, yeah, they're from Washington.
Washington, man.
Yep.
They drove all the way to Moab, Utah.
Yep. Yeah, it was insane. Don't get me wrong. I feel like a lot of trucks did really good, but that one probably impressed me the most.
Yes, and he has the drive to put it in some positions. When he showed up to Pritchett Canyon with us after a select group went to Pritchett instead of this other trail, Cane Creek or whatever.
Yep.
That day we were like, well, we're trying to explain to him, this is not a walk in the park. It's dangerous. People get hurt out here. The dude just did it.
Yeah.
I mean, he did everything, and he walked that old top-heavy looking truck up everything.
It was amazing. Yeah, if I would have, we would have had a bet, like if he would have made it on even Hell's Revenge, in my opinion,
yeah.
I would have said no way.
He dang near had the hot tub. I mean, he just didn't have the motor to it.
Yeah.
But, dang, good deal.
You guys, but I hear it goes back to the recipe of the truck. This is what I'm stressing. I want you guys to know the recipe of the truck, but then also the driver. Like, you get to know your rig, you get to know how it works and how it's going to perform.
Yep.
You're going to be unstoppable. And that's what I'm thankful for, is because another thing about Full Size Invasion, I know I'm talking about it a lot, but you meet guys that are real deal wheeling people, like Aaron, Brad, Jared. Jared's been around for years.
Yeah,
He can help you pick a line. Bob, same way. I mean, those guys have been around the block for years. And so if you got people that can help you pick a line and get your truck in the right spot to get it, you're going to make it. When 9 times out of 10, a lot of people don't make it.
Good spotters are a must in this game.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to listen to them. And that's a hard thing to do sometimes when you think you know what you need to do, but someone else is seeing what you're not. Learn to listen to your spotters that you trust. Spotters that
The ones you trust.
some things can go bad. If things can just go bad anyway, but sometimes it's for whatever reason. Learn to trust your people you're with. That's what's good about going out and wheeling with other people. Don't ever go wheeling alone.
Nope.
That's a dumb mistake that you can make. Don't do it.
It ain't worth it, guys. You're gonna get hung up or something real bad happens, especially in some of those canyons we were in driving. There's no cell phone coverage.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Ask James' wife. She'll tell you. Especially
I'm sure
when you don't
she's
tell
still-
someone where you're going and then 12 hours later.
I'm sure she's a little sore about it still, but
Yeah.
rest in peace, James.
Sorry, bud. We didn't show back up, so you had to come rescue everybody.
That was good stuff.
Richard Canyon in the dark is an experience. It's
Oh man.
Moab in itself is
Oh, it's the Mecca.
you got to get out there. I know a lot of people say, "Man, I want to." Just do it. You know, Caleb's been peeling my layers back on some things, and it's just life lessons. Period. My grandpa was one of them.
For sure.
He passed away not too long ago, and one of the things that he told me right before he left and went to heaven was to live your life. He said, "Man, there's so many things I always said I wished I would have done this. I wished I would have done that." And he said, "Don't just take it from me." He said, "Everybody says that." He said, "Do it. Just whatever you got to do, just get out there and live your life." So Caleb's a big advocate for that. So he's kind of pulling me out of my comfort zone and taking me to all these places and pushing me to do more and more. And it's a great thing because life is becoming better for it.
Yeah.
You know, we're spending a lot more time together. We're learning a lot together, and we're living life. You know, that's what we're here for anyway.
Yeah, and
Enjoy it.
for me too, like I just thought about before I started building my truck, and this, I haven't even told Ryan this yet, but you know, I'm starting to build this truck or getting close to start working on putting parts together. You know, I started thinking what truly made me happy and what made me enjoy, what did I super enjoy? Well, there's a lot of things I enjoy or like. No, but what really made you feel like, man, this was a great day? I remembered back wheeling whenever I had that Cuck V on Leaf Springs, didn't have any money. I had barely enough money to get to Disney, which is over by Grand Lake here in Oklahoma, where we're from. It's like an hour and a half away. Not really a big deal, but Ryan had limited funds. He was single. Was barely married. Didn't have very much money. Had to budget for it. But I remember going, we didn't even have a tent one time. Ryan slept in his truck, and we're going over to Disney and wheeling for like 3 days.
Yes.
And I remember those are some of the best times that I had had my whole life up until that point.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like I said, I'm getting ready to start building this truck whenever I was doing it. And I remember that was like one of those things that was vindicating. Like I enjoyed that thoroughly to my core. And so guys, you guys have to figure out your purpose and what you want to do. And I just love wheeling, like deep down. And it's the whole process. It's, you know, meeting
from
new
start
people,
to finish.
traveling, you know, it's just a good setup.
The build.
Yeah, and then not only that, but you know, you got to trust your spotter because there's things you can't see. So having Ryan, Aaron, somebody that I trust and know, it just makes it that much better.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of some insight about what makes me tick, you know, and what I enjoy. And you know, obviously I like hanging out with you, Ryan, and so it's, you know, it's not a mystery. We have a good time.
Everybody
So,
knows it.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we may not be, you know, going out and spending $4 million on jet planes and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. In my opinion, we have the best time whenever we're wheeling, as good as you can.
Whatever we're doing together, we're having a good time.
Yeah,
We're busting each other's balls,
that's what it's all about.
and we've come so far when we're doing it together. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just, you know, we learn from each other.
hell yeah.
You know, and it helps to have people like Caleb, because I'm really methodical. So sometimes perfection is my enemy. Like, sometimes you need somebody like him who's like, hey, that's good enough. Let's just go. Come on, let's do it.
Well, it's a two-edged sword.
I'm dragging behind with the anchor, and Caleb's pulling the chain. Come on.
It's good to have a little bit of variance.
We are a good balance for each other.
For sure.
We balance each other out in a good friendship, brother way. And we butt heads sometimes, but that's all about it.
Yeah, that's how you know you love them.
That's right.
Just like the old lady. You know, so just to kind of wrap things up, you know, I'm excited obviously about Ryan's truck. I mean, obviously I know he's even more excited. So we're kind of in this parts lull, I would call it. You know, it kind of sucks. You kind of get some of the wind taken out of your sails whenever you're waiting on the parts. So I've been there, and also the other part about this that kind of takes wind out of your sails too is whenever you look at the wall of parts that you have, and you literally have a mountain of parts stacking up, and you're like, how in the world
I
am I
bought a
gonna-"
whole new shelf system just to
just to be able to store them all.
stuff back here.
So you're trying to, like, you know, give yourself a pep talk, but you know, I've learned that even through that whole process of mine, like, I enjoyed the process of it. And so, you know, Ryan, he's way more methodical, like he said. So he's really taking his time, and he's obviously doing a couple of things that he learned from me on my truck, lesson-wise.
Yeah.
Not because I did it right, but because he's seen that it didn't work out so good, and he's going to go a little different route. And that's, like we talked about, the flavor of the builds. He's doing it a little differently, don't you?
And I'm miles ahead from where Caleb's at because I have his truck. I have all these guys I met from Full Size Invasion and Steven and all them. Like, I am leaps and bounds ahead
For sure.
into what I'm doing. So I didn't have to go through the learning process like he did. I still am a lot,
Well, yeah.
but to have him here to say, you know, this is how we do it. This is what we did on mine. Because I'm a Ford guy, the Chevy is
It is.
still a pickup, is what it is, but same concept, but there's a lot of different things that I didn't know about Chevys. It's a great truck. I'm anxious. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, like you said, we're just waiting on a few things, and
Yeah.
it's weird how one little thing can hold you up, but
You gotta have it.
we're to that point, and it keeps telling me it's almost there. You're almost there. And we're just waiting on a couple things to get some mounts built, and then it's full steam ahead. You guys are gonna see this thing.
You'll see it out, Will, and it won't be that long.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad machine.
You guys are gonna like it. It's gonna be on Full Size Invasion coming up for sure. It's gonna be going when we go in September.
Oh, yeah.
There's a list out there. If you follow Full Size Invasion on Instagram, Facebook, he's got a list of all the events that are gonna be coming up this coming year, 2024, which, you know, we're in the middle of December now, but I know in January we're going to Sand Hollow. I'm taking my truck, and it's going to be cool. We're going to get some, you know, get to meet some people there. Looking forward to that. Getting to refine the truck even more. And you know, the cool thing about wheeling with everybody is you're able to get a little bit of wind in your sails
Sure.
for working on your own truck too.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing the recipes of others and meeting new people, and it just makes it that much more fun.
Sure.
To get to enjoy it and see, okay, I'm going to do the same thing.
That's why we go to these things too. It's SEMA.
Yep.
It always gives me a boost of energy to start working on my project.
For sure.
So, yeah, we're looking forward to all these trips and getting to hang out with these people and build some cool rigs, man, and get out there.
Yeah, our goal, you know, for me, I know for sure, and Ryan, I'm not going to speak for Ryan on this, but my goal in doing this and building these trucks is, man, I just want to have a good time, meet new people, and just do what I enjoy, which is going out there wheeling and seeing if I can conquer the obstacles.
That's the thing, man. Challenge yourself.
Yep.
This is what we do, and that's where we're at. We're challenging ourselves every day.
Yep.
This is a huge deal. It's a huge investment.
For sure.
I mean, don't be scared to do it. I'm nobody special, and I'm making it happen.
Oh yeah.
Work your butt off and get where you want to be.
Yeah, you see so many people, and I know you guys have seen it, they get halfway through a build process, even if it's a hot rod or motorcycle, whatever, and they sell their
Chuck
project.
it. Yeah.
They're like, oh man, I'm done with it. I lost interest. And that's what's cool about going to these events
Yeah.
is even, I know you weren't even building at the very beginning. Whenever I first got my truck, he wasn't building, but Ryan had been in it for a long time.
I was building a different truck over there.
Yeah,
That green truck.
but not for off-road. It was a whole nother project.
Yeah.
So he goes and wheels with us. We go to Moab, and I'm sure it added a lot.
Definitely, it was a spoonful of what I needed for sure.
Well, secretly I hoped it would be, because I didn't want to have to be doing it all, going to these places all alone, because it is all damn near 20-hour drive to go where
This is
we got to
long.
go out there in Utah from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But it's worth it, guys. I'm telling you, if you're on the fence about it, or if you're thinking about it, or if you're like, hey, my rig's got leaf springs and it ain't that great, just get out there, plan on it. It's gonna be great. You're gonna enjoy it with bypasses if you don't want to do some of the extreme stuff.
Yeah.
They don't make you go down into the hot
There's
tub.
something for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. There's all different walks of life or people coming out there. I mean, one of the guys we met, he does like hydroponics for
Yeah.
like groweries and stuff. Super cool guy.
They're just every different walk of life.
Plumbers, electricians. We've met mill workers. I mean, we've met all different types of people. And like I said, they're pretty much all like-minded.
We all have the same interest. The same
Yeah.
goal in mind is to go out there and wheel and have fun and enjoy the camaraderie.
That's what it's all
what
about.
happens at Full Size Invasion.
Yeah, like I said, I'm thankful for Jared Jones for putting all that on, man.
Sure.
You are the real MVP, Jared, of getting us together. I mean,
That's a lot of work.
it's a lot. Yeah, his behind the scenes work is so good. Like he gets everything together, does all the paperwork, like the permits. Like there's so much stuff we don't see, and I'm
Yeah.
thankful for Jared to do that because it allows us to get together. So huge props to you, man. So we're gonna get back at it, guys. This is just going over Ryan's truck, and I know I probably should have done this a little bit earlier, but I kind of came upon this, and I'm like, we kind of need to figure out the direction, because I know on my truck, I kind of told you that I was planning on building it because of UA, so I wanted to get Ryan in here and just get the whole basis and the reason why and get him on here. I mean, obviously you're going to see him because this is his truck, but this won't be the last time you see him because we're going to be wheeling together. So
Yeah.
looking forward to more wheeling in the future. Looking forward to getting some parts in so we can get your truck going.
It's getting exciting. To that point, I'm getting excited. And
Yeah.
we're fixing to be out there banging around,
Yep.
shooting each other's trucks up.
Yep. Seeing what it's all about.
Gotta show off the crew cab.
That's right. So anyways, guys, thanks for following and subscribing. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Just now got to 500 subscribers on YouTube. I never thought I'd get 100. So,
Sir.
it's like, do I think I'm going to be famous? No. Do I think that I just want to get myself out there and see
wanna
people
be.
work? Yeah, maybe. But if it doesn't happen, you know what? I'll still have a good time wheeling no matter what.
Heck yeah.
So, guys, thanks for following. Appreciate everything you guys do, and thanks for the comments. We'll see you on the next trip. We're going to get going on some other work today. So, let's go.